And I got 3 different ways that I split and identify the types of spinners for the best water that I'm targeting. Let's dive right into it. Stick around to the end of this video and you're going to see who won this spinner that we showcased in the last video. So you're going to stick around for that. It's going to be awesome. So when we're talking spinners for Coho, we kind of dove into in the last video, I'll link it down below, but the full haul of spinners that I've come across in the last 2 years. All different brands, all different sizes, shapes, different colors. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but it's not really talked about so much of how you approach the water and what really differentiates the reasoning to picking those spinners out. So I'm going to break down my 3 that I like to do. Not every day does the graph that you're looking at showcase what it looks like at the river. Things change in an instant, and it's always good to be able to adapt while you're on the water. So if we talk about a generic baseline spinner style that can fish slow water or fast water, it can kind of give you a little bit of everything. I think we got to talk about the torpedo shaped body spinner. Now a torpedo body shaped spinner, just like this North Fork Custom, the Steelhead Slammer, I showed that in the last video as well. This torpedo style does well in a lot of different water conditions based upon the retrieve that you bring it back with, right? Another style like this in a slender body is a rooster tail in the salmon sizes of about a ½ ounce. So the whole point of having a spinner that baselines like this is kind of our median. I go to the river and I gauge what the conditions are, and then I can pick my spinner based on what I see when I get there. Sometimes I rig one up before I get there in anticipation of what it should be like, but in reality I have a small spinner box with a couple different varieties to gauge the conditions that may be at the river that day. So especially when on the bank, you only have so much you can bring with you. Having a little bit of everything in a variety that still fits into a compact bag is going to be the best option. When you're in a boat, you can kind of bring the whole kitchen sink, so to say. But these style spinners, those style spinners work really well. Here's another variation of that torpedo style, a river fisher with a squid skirt. You can dress these up however you want, and the good thing is these are so versatile. Because of this torpedo style, you can let it sink a little bit more in our slower frogger water, and this will make it really work well on a slow retrieve. You can speed that up a little bit and swing them through that little faster current. The blade in particular on the rooster tail is more of a narrow blade. Therefore, it stays down a little bit better in a little bit faster retrieve or the faster water itself. So if I had to put a middle of the road that we go everything off of, it's the torpedo style is kind of the baseline. These are roughly ½ ounce on all these, so keep that in mind too. I generally find the ½ ounce fits almost most conditions that we're going to face here in October and the fall. So baseline, that's my number 1, and that's going to be that torpedo body. Now what about something that excels in slower water? You're going to probably recognize this, the Blue Fox spinner. But there are other versions of that. The K&D Sprocket Bell, okay? What this is unique about either which one you have is they're a bell body style. They make a really good noise in the water. They have a big blade. They aren't super heavy, and they create a lot of flash. So therefore, they do kind of ride up in the water column, which means they excel in the slower water. That's, don't even remember the brand name of this one, but another nice bell body one out of Oregon. So there's a really variety of these styles that are out there in the bell body, but the point of having something like this, and I showed you guys that big coho that I caught on when I was 12, was on a spinner style as this. It really does well in walking speed current or less. That frog water you find off in side channels allows for a really big action to be created, and you don't have to have a ton of current to throw it off, because coho are lazy in a lot of sense. They're almost like bass fishing for salmon. So you can be fishing around wood piles and everything else in that slower water and be able to draw a lot of fish out with these bigger bell bodies with the flash and the noise. So if I go to slow water in terms of that 3, then we're going to end up going something like this big bell body, and that is where I think those excel. Now, what about fast water? Because this is something that a lot of people may not do so much, and I'm not talking rapids, but where you get a little bit faster than walking current. Sometimes you'll get coho that push up to the head of a run. It might be a little bit faster or tougher to fish, and so you want to have a little bit heavier spinner to do so, because you can get into the run quickly and start fishing right away, versus a lighter spinner like, let's say, a blue fox will either float too far away out of the zone, or it's going to come up with that current and drag and not allow you to be fishing the zone. So I like going with something like a Flying C. This one I believe is a 7/8 ounce. So it's a heavier body spinner, there's no doubt about it, and really well in the flash realm. It works with a lot of attraction to it. But there's even rooster tails that are 3/4 of an ounce to an ounce to give you something that really stays down in that faster and deeper water. And I think those kind of style, it's a little bit more of a torpedo body because it doesn't have as much drag, but it also is going to be heavier. 5/8, 7/8, 3/4, even an ounce. Sometimes those can work really well in some different pocket water. But you can't forget something that kind of fits all 3 categories. And to me, that's the wicked lure. Honestly, one of my favorite spinners on the market. I've fished just about all of them. But what I find, I come back to a wicked because of its versatility across multiple conditions. Okay? You typically are rigging this out of the package. It's an unweighted spinner in itself, but you put on an inline float weight. I can start with a 1/2 ounce, I can go up to a 3/4, I can even go to an ounce. I can fish different water, let it drift and swing. I can just straight retrieve in slower water. It gives you the versatility of what I just went through on the 3 different categories, but it's kind of an all-in-one. So I found I have a little bit of everything with me. Sometimes a weighted inline spinner is what is needed to immediately get down and start fishing to where the fish are. Sometimes they do want more of this natural movement out of a wicked that allows to be swung through a hole and really drive the fish wild. So I bring 3 different kinds with me in terms of body style. That way I have a variety, and I keep them all in that small little leader pouch that I showed you guys, and that thing does the trick because I'm limited on space in the bank. I want to try and be courteous to my own self of not bringing too much gear and not being able to realistically get to it. So those are kind of the 3 sizes I like to fish, but I want to touch on an important thing to it as well. Now, colors play a huge factor based on the conditions you're in, but I feel like there are a couple things that aren't talked about enough outside of specific color to the blades, and that is, are you adding things to your spinners? With a wicked lure, you don't really need to add anything. I play the conditions to the colors of these to best do it, right? Clear water, this new color with the purple and the blue is going to absolutely be dynamite here. As things start to cool down, those rivers clear up and the fish will be biting. A normal condition, steelhead green, this pink and purple, the pink and blue, pink and silver, pink and chartreuse, the orange and silver, they all work really well, even the glowing green. Now we start getting really muddy, you got to go with the contrasting colors, the black and the pink, the black and the blue, the black and green. I really like those darker colors in that contrasted water, as well as that pink and chartreuse. When you get to some of these other spinner styles, you can start getting combination blades, right? Different bell bodies, different blades, different sizes. But I like to then start tipping my spinners. And what I mean by that is varying it up. Sometimes adding a hoochie skirt or a worm tail can be the difference maker to getting these fish riled up. They may see the same blue fox spinner 100 times by their face sitting in the hole, but if you've ever seen a blue fox spinner with a worm tail, that thing goes crazy behind it. What's great about it is how simple it is. I have found truly the best worm so far to tip those Blue Fox spinners is a little 3-inch Mad River worm. These things are inexpensive. You get a pack of 10. They hold on really well to that hook. I mean, I have not put any glue, anything. I put that on there a while back, and that thing has stayed on really well and just does its job. But it's a little bit of different action that really, I think, entices the fish before they've seen something else. And when it comes to a squid skirt, there's no secret behind that. Everyone's been putting hoochies on spinners for a long time. But what I feel like you can do is you can contrast and change things up in order to give this new life or a different look. Chartreuse with chartreuse. You can get some inexpensive pink ones or get some custom dipped ones, and you can really mix and match the color of the squid to the conditions. I think that gives an added bonus to fishing, and I keep some of these just as a spare because it's super easy to just thread on a squid skirt or a wormtail in the change of conditions. You never know what you're going to get when you get to the river, but I really feel like this plays into the fact that you need to have a versatility setup and have some options with you to be more successful. Let me know in the comments below, how are you picking your spinner choices and colors based on the conditions? Do you use any of those sizes just like I explained and how I did it? I want to hear from you. Now let's give away this Arctic spinner. And here comes our winner. Bam! There you go. Congratulations to our winner. I'm so excited to be able to get this to you. All you gotta do, shoot me an email to holymolyoutdoors@gmail.com right here below, and I will get this in the mail for you this week. If you like spinners and you want to see the haul that we did, check out the video right here as I dive into the various sizes, colors, everything else that I picked up over the last 2 years and how we're going to go use them and chase the fish this fall. Tight lines and fish on!